Before large Facebook groups like Zodiac Duelists became the hub for buying and selling cards online, there were three primary ways of buying your cards for events. First, making risky, unmoderated deals through forums. Second, buying cards from players or vendors at events. And third, ordering them from sites like TCG Player or eBay. Because of the buyer protection and low prices of TCG Player compared to the first two methods, I and many other players went to TCG Player for all my cards as a kid, throughout high school, and even at the start of college. Like most online stores, TCG Player tracks which cards you buy and how much you bought them for at the time. So today, I want to take a look at some of the best and worst buys that I've made over the last 4 years. Of all the bad cards I've bought, I probably regret this one the least. Photon Palperative used to actually be pretty good. Basically, you would summon Maestroke, flip a monster face down, and then use Photon Palperative to flip it back up, making it lose attack points. I don't know if that was like the greatest combo ever, because it took 4 level 4 monsters to do, but at the time, it was actually pretty good spot removal for monsters that had big attack points, because so what would happen is people would summon monsters in attack position to play around Palperative, but then you would Maestroke it face down to circumvent that issue and then just flip it back up. And it wasn't super great, but it was pretty effective for the time. I mean, that was like early Exceed monsters when rank 4s were actually worse than rank 3s. I bought this for $18. I don't know if I regret that too much. I mean, I still have this card, and it is one of my favorite Exceed monsters of all time, but I think this is like double how much it's worth right now, so it hasn't lost that much value. I mean, as we're going to find out in this video, 50% value isn't that much to lose. But that was like the first sort of bad purchase I made. Next, though, I bought 3... I really minus for the 2014 Nats. That's what we're going to discover here. But I bought 3 Curry Bandits for $13 each. That was not a good buy. I mean, I don't know, like, Curry Bandit was pretty good for a while. I mean, when the game is slower, it was at least kind of neat, because you got to, like, sort of search a spell or trap card while filling your graveyard with things. I bought this for Lightsworns. I've played it in stuff like Inzectors. I haven't really played it in much past that, though. I didn't really use this card when it was in its prime. I mean, it was pretty good in Sylvans, but just in general, this card didn't really suit my playstyle at the time. I mean, now I just try to play what's subjectively like a better deck, but at the time I really liked decks that had a lot of trap cards, so I'd say that was like I really try to be a defensive player, which is just like incorrect, by the way. Like, you should just try to play to win, not worry about like if you want to be defensive or aggressive or control the duel or whatever. But anyway, yeah, Curry Bandit, I never got use out of it, and they just kind of sit in a deck box in my room under a bunch of dust. So yeah, that was a bad buy. Probably the worst buy was Rainbow Kuriboh for $20 each. So I took Lightsworns to 2014 Nats, which was a terrible idea. I did horrible. And I bought the Curry Bandits for that, and then I also bought the Rainbow Kuribohs for that, because it seemed cool, right? Because it stopped an attack to protect your Lightsworn monsters, then you could summon it from the grave to block another attack. And this was super hyped. It was really bad. I don't even know I think I only played one of this, if I played it at all. It was a card that, a lot of times what happens when I buy cards, or when I used to buy cards before really thinking about them, I would buy them, I would not worry about the price. I mean, $40, what's $40 for 2 cards? It's whatever. I thought they were good. And then by the time that they arrived to my house, I already hated that I had bought them. And this was definitely one of those cards. So yeah, fuck Rainbow Kuriboh. I bought 6 Royal Commands because Shaddolls were announced, and if I remember correctly, there was a time when Royal Command did not end up working against Shaddolls. The ruling was eventually switched, and not only did I buy these 6, also on eBay I bought 3 Ultra Rares, I think for 10 each, which was really... No, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're 10 each. It was bad. I bought so many Royal Commands, and I never got rid of any of them. I still have all of them. I tried playing them at a couple events just for my own, I don't know, I just wanted to use them, because I had spent so much money on them, and I thought maybe if I can, do something with them, then people will want them, and I can get rid of all these rares that I bought, but I never did, and I still have them, so please hype up Royal Command so I can sell them. This one I'm not super proud of. I actually didn't pay for this. I know for a fact I did pay for two other Vanity's Emptinesses that were secret rares. If you weren't playing back then, basically what happened was there was a short period where Vanities was at 3, and the only printings were the secret rare and the common. This was coming off of the common being $30 to $50 a piece. So when the secret rare came out, the common didn't even go down that much, but this one, man, it was like $40 to $50 no matter what. It was a really hard card to pull from such a large set, like a legendary collection. And yeah, I didn't buy this particular one. This was someone that owed me money. But I know for a fact I bought the other two at a similar price, and I think I only got to play them in a couple decks before they actually got hit. But there's a volcanic deck profile out there somewhere where I'm playing 3 secret rare Vanity's Emptinesses. I don't actually remember getting rid of. I actually might have sold these to Simo. I don't know. I can't remember. There was a time when I got rid of a bunch of my max rarity stuff, and a lot of that was to Alex Simo. But I don't know if this was part of the deal. Regardless, though, it was just way too much for a card that I already had in common, basically. This was actually a good buy. So I bought 3 Gravekeeper's Commandant for $8.77 each. They were first edition near mints. You can just go on like eBay or TCG Player and try to find this card, first edition or near mint. Both of those are really tough. I believe the last time I checked, the unlimited near mints were going for like 10s. So yeah, this was a crazy good buy. I actually bought this for trap monsters, and I bought Ulti Necro Valleys as well. I believe those are way higher than I bought them at. At the time, I thought it was way too much money to sink into such a silly deck, but man, these really shot up. And I don't know if I'll probably hang on to them because I just like hanging on to cards. But that was definitely a good buy that I don't regret. Another good buy, see, I eventually got smart, was Terraforming. I bought Supers for $5. I don't even remember what deck this was for. Let's see, July 2015. I have literally no idea what deck this was for, but this was a good buy. I mean, Terraforming, I wonder if, I don't know when the field spell change was made. I think that was the year before this, but basically what the Yu-Gi-Oh community didn't realize when they made the field spell change to where both players could have field spells was that Konami was like about to release a whole bunch of field spell themes, and that made them just so much better. I mean, with Terraforming, you just had 6 copies of it. This might have, I can't remember when Cosmos were announced. It might have been when Cosmos were announced, because that was 2015 and 2016. That might, because I made a whole bunch of buys when Cosmos first got leaked. There was a time when I think it was like just Good Witch and Cosmotown. Cosmotown was absolutely the first card that was announced, and I know that this was probably when I bought that. I would have to check on that, but I also bought like Serene Psychic Witches, which was a terrible buy, but this was actually a pretty good one. I mean, these cards have pretty much since then always been like around $10. At some points, like when ABCs were big, they were way more than $10, but yeah, I've always kept in them. I think I actually have 2 extras, but that was a pretty good buy. Another one that was like all right was first ed near mint Levier for $6. There was like a long time where Levier like wasn't played in anything, and I like cards like that because eventually they're just gonna go up. I mean, a card like Levier is, I can't remember when this thing first got dropped, and it was like $50 for the ultra rare because it was just like crazy at the time. We just had never seen an Exceed monster that was like so powerful, and it continued to be used in like everything, like Dino Rabbit and windups and stuff like that. But pretty much every deck played Levier because, like I said, there was a couple months there when Exceed monsters first got released that rank 3s were like by far, like as far as generics go, generic rank 3s were by far the better rank out of rank 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. But yeah, this was a good buy. I think they're up a little bit from this, but it's retained its value, so I'm happy with that. Another great choice, and this was actually because of you guys, when I first started monetizing my videos, the first thing I did was make a bunch of Agent deck profiles and Herald deck profiles, and yeah, so I bought these 3 Heralds for $2 each, and they were unlimited near mints. I still have them, and these shot up just a crazy amount. I think they're even still like $8 for the unlimited versions, but these shot up a ton when what is it called? Cyber Angels got released, and it's just kind of kept at that $10-ish value. I know there was a very short period where they were way higher, but Cyber Angels, I keep saying Cyber Knights, Cyber Angels have actually topped a few regionals, actually probably like a handful of regionals by now, in a whole bunch of different iterations. I never really played that deck. I felt like it was too expensive for not being good enough, so I never bought it when it was like actually sort of rogue and viable, and now it's just like really not viable at all, so I have no interest in picking them up. But yeah, Herald of Perfection, that was a good choice on my part. Good foresight. Another one, you might remember Utopia the Lightning. I mean, anytime that like manga promotional card drops that's like good. I mean, I'm thinking of like Nightmare Shark is I think the most recent one. Oh, Diamond Crab King, that was good as well. Whenever those cards dropped, I pretty much just immediately buy them, because if they're playable, they almost always skyrocket like Utopia did. I mean, I'm pretty sure there was a point where this card was over $40, especially before the super rare reprint. But this is one of the best. It's not a rank 4, but it's one of the best Exceed monsters in the game as far as decks that play level 4s can go into, because you just climb into it with Utopia. And I think everyone knew that when it was first announced, and yet people just didn't pick this card up. But like every manga promotional card, what ends up happening is so many of them are stolen from bookstores, because you can just take a knife and cut the bottom of the wrap, and then the card falls out, and you just put the manga back. Try. Am I supposed to be saying like manga, not manga? Am I gonna get fucking comments about that? I don't read this shit. Anyway, they put it back on the shelf, and then someone buys it, and the card isn't in it, and like they kill themselves, because that's the whole reason they bought it. I mean, maybe they bought it to read it, probably not though. But yeah, I bought this because I thought it'd be a good buy, and it was. So go me. And yeah, that was actually like the last notable thing on here, because all like the stuff after that, the price hasn't changed on very much. I haven't really made that many purchases in the past couple months here. I've mostly just been not buying cards. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this analytical video of my good and bad purchases, and I will see you later. Bye.